Hello my dears, and welcome to my channel. As always, I am happy and grateful that you've chose to spend your time with me, and I hope that you are all doing well, but if not, I hope things will get better for you soon. And the ways you can support my channel: like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe so I can appease the mighty algorithm and be seen by more people, and hopefully help someone make a decision either way on a deck, or hit the notification bell to be notified of when a new video comes out. So we have the Wandering Moon Tarot, and it was created by Rachael, and the box itself is 5 inches height, cross is 3.25, and the width is 2 inches, and it does have the thumb indents. And title stackability, it only has it on the top and on the side, and yeah, it sparkles. It's an unusual deck covering. I can't do it justice, but I'm trying, and it does have the sparkles on the deck box. It's really pretty. And then you have it also on the inside as well, and then you have some sparkling going on there. You got little moons everywhere, and it does come with a guidebook, and we will explore that. And it's got some more shinies. I can't really do it justice, but it does shine, sparkle. Okay, let me push those out of the way. And it has silver foil on the edge of it, and on the back it also sparkles, but I can't really, it's really hard to show it. A little bit. There you go. But yeah, it's a beautiful deck. And reversals will be revealed, and there are 81 cards in this deck instead of your standard 78. She included 3 extra cards for the major arcana, and we'll go through those. She does have other decks, and there is a sister deck to this, I guess you could call it, and it is it's the same. As you can see, it's the same type, but these cards are black, and I'm going to be doing a future video on that. But these are the black box white cards, so it's kind of confusing. But then you have the Wandering Echo, and this has the major arcana, and then the other deck she has is the Wandering Soul Oracle. And I will be doing videos on each of them, and I will also be doing a side-by-side comparison with the 2 Wandering Moon Tarots, so you can see the differences side by side. Alright, so let's see if there's anything else. No, not that I can think of. So let's go ahead and I do a side-by-side with all of the tarot, and we will do the major first. Okay. Everything's set up. Alright, so go ahead and look at these 2. And it is a minimalistic deck. And I read in her guidebook that she did it this way because when she was doing the tarot, she was doing daily draws, and she just felt like she was just, flashcarding it. And, I can understand that after a while. I mean, it's good to study the foundational deck, which I call it, and then when you feel comfortable and you wanted to get more of a deeper dive into your deck and explore the images and the intuition part and stuff like that, and that's good. Okay, so in this deck, she's done I call it the pre-Rider-Waite-Smith, because the decks that were created before the Rider-Waite-Smith went by a different system, and the Rider-Waite-Smith does strength as the 8 card and 11 as justice. So she did it as I call it, the pre-Rider-Waite-Smith. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you the cards that way. And it doesn't mean that your deck is wrong if you get that. It's just, it's a different system. That's the only 2 things that they changed. So your deck is not wrong, it's not broken. Okay, so then we have the strength card. So if you Google it, it's something about the Golden Dawn, and Rider-Waite-Smith changed it for so it would line up astrologically, if I'm remembering the story. But yeah, you can find out online the background behind it. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, when I first started, I was like, wait, why is this? I thought the deck was wrong, but then come to find out, no, it's just a different system. Okay, and so she added 3 additional cards for the Major Arcana. I wish I could get them to sparkle. They're just, I'm trying. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Yeah. And then you've got the full moon. Okay, so that is the Major Arcana. And she also renamed for the suits. She changed the cups, and they are the moons, I should say, in this deck. She did keep the court cards, though. They're still the same. And this is a pretty minimalistic deck. It's kind of pippish. And I do believe in the guidebook, she does give you an interpretation of the art. But we will go over the guidebook after we look at all these cards. Court cards. Alright, so that is the cups. And she did keep the swords, the sword suits. Okay, then we have cups. The court cards. Okay, that is swords. Then we have the stars, which she changed for the pentacles. So pentacles are stars. Then last but not least, we have the wands, and she did keep the wands as wands. Although they kind of look like crystals to me. Yeah, they just look like crystals. Cards. And then you have a little extra card. Oh, it sparkles. All right. And that is pretty much the deck. And the card stock is pretty decent. It's kind of like a matte finish. Alright, let's look at this guidebook. And it sparkles. I don't know if you've seen it. Alright, so this is 189 pages, and it does have reversal meanings in it. It has a lot of stuff in it. Alright, and I forgot to credit Marion Kirk, who helped her with the guidebook. And you got your contents page, and little bit about the deck, and just an introduction, and you can pause that and read that at your leisure. Okay, and then using the deck and guidebook, and like I said, she started off doing a daily tarot draw, and she journaled. Some people like to journal their daily spreads or whatever they do, and she talks about how she just wanted to move into more intuitive readings. And I mean, I believe that happens to a lot of people. They learn the foundation of the cards, and then they're like, I want to do something deeper. And so they start doing that. It's just evolution, I guess, when you're doing your tarot. And then you can pause that and read that. And then she puts a note in here telling you about the suits that she changed, and how to use this deck and guidebook. And I always look at this section as suggestions. And I like it when creators do give you like how to use this deck in guidebook section, because you know it gives you a kind of a background as to where they're coming from, and something you may have not thought of. And then she gives you some journaling prompts that you can, when you're looking at the card, to help you maybe develop more of your intuitiveness. And just gives you some more suggestions. It's kind of blurry. Okay, that looks better. All right, and then we get some spreads. And she gives you some more suggestions and some spreads. And you get your 3-card spread. And she gives you some other 3-card. And then to interview your deck. And a lot of people suggest that you do this with a new deck. It's totally up to you if you want to do it or not. I usually just want to, as soon as I get the deck, I open it up, I shuffle it, and then I pull a card. That's pretty much what I do to introduce myself to the deck. And then you have an Am I Ready to Wander? That spread. And then we go into the Major Arcana. And she says it's up to you if you want to use the 3 extra cards or not. And so she does hers a little bit differently. She gives you the title of the card and then a little paragraph about the meaning, and then you get your upright and reversed, and then she goes into the artwork. And this kind of helps me. Some people don't like guidebooks because it makes them think that it kind of colors their interpretation instead of just using their own intuition or whatever they call it. They don't like to know what it says in the guidebook. And there are people, I like the guidebooks because it gives me the why as to why they created the card and what they were trying to say. So it kind of helps me until I get familiar with the deck and get comfortable with it, and then I start, forming my own of what the image means to me. So it's nice that she kind of goes into the artwork and explaining, because when you work with a minimalistic kind of deck like this one, I mean, you're looking at it and going, huh. And if you're not familiar with the foundational deck, that's what I call it, you're gonna kind of be lost, because even though you move on from the foundational one, that does give you what do aces, what are all aces? Aces are all beginnings. and you know, it gives you a good framework or foundation to work off of. And then she gives you the 3 extra, and she goes into the meaning of it, and upright and reversed, and then also the artwork. So that's nice that she does that. And then we go into the minor arcana, and she goes into a little bit of explanation as to what it is. Okay. And then goes into a little bit of explanation of the court cards, which I don't like the court cards. They still intimidate me still, because it's not just one thing that they could mean. It's it could be a person in your life. It could be an energy in your life. It could be a message. So it could be many things coming out of the court card. Yeah, I mean, it's like you have, like with the king and queen, you could look at those as people, or you could look at it as feminine or masculine energy. The court cards, I think, in one way describe like the pages. The pages could be a child. The knights could be, depending on age group, could be a teenager. And then you have the queen, which could be a older energy, and the same with the king. So the court cards are kind of a mixed bag for me. So there's a lot of things that court cards can confuse you about. Moving right along after my little rambling there. Okay, so the minor arcana, not given much. You're just pretty much given a little meaning paragraph and an upright and reversed. And she does give you the artwork of what's behind it. So apparently the wands, like I said, are crystals, but they're crystal wands. Okay, so that's basically pretty much the guidebook. And it's a pretty thick guidebook. Yeah, I'm just gonna flip through it because it's pretty much the same. And then on the back, back few pages, gives a little blurb about the writers, and a social link, and then with the other one, Marianne. And then you have some reading if you choose. Yeah, the guidebook is kind of, yeah. The binding is a little, it kind of stays open. Yeah. And then, little thank yous for everybody. And then she's got some more socials there. And that is pretty much it for the guidebook. So let's go ahead and shuffle these babies. Yeah, they are they are thicker. It's hard to get my hand around them because they are pretty thick. It's a pretty thick deck. But after you break them in, hopefully, yeah, I'm struggling trying to keep these in my hands because it is such a thick deck. Alright, let's see. Who wants to pop up and say hello? Alright. Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Oops. It's going the wrong way. Oh, there it is. Alright. Wheel of Fortune. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. However, what we can be certain of is just like the seasons, this too will change. Upright, ending and beginnings, cycle of behavior, karmic lessons, feeling lucky, fate and fortune. Okay, then the artwork. Since ancient Egyptian times, the Ouroboros, the snake consuming its own tail, has represented the idea of eternity, the infinite, and the endless return of time. The wheel keeps turning. Each moment is a new beginning. A pair of archangel wings rest below the Ouroboros. This represents the four-winged creatures found in the traditional Wheel of Fortune tarot, signifying the astrological sign of Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo. This is a card of cycles within ourselves and with our ancestral lineage. So, remind you. Yep, that's what the original card looks like, and that's her version of it. Okay, so that is pretty much all I have for this deck. And I will be doing the other decks in my next videos coming up. But that is all I have for this deck. Let me know your thoughts about the deck, or if you decided to buy it or not. Let me know either way. I'm interested in your thoughts. And if you would like to see a future deck in a future video, let me know and I will see what I can do. But once again, thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I hope that you will join me with a future video. But until next time, take care and goodbye, my dears.